Hi everybody, Tim Hughes here. I'm the CEO and co-founder of DLA Ignite. With me today, I've got Daniel and Tommaso, and we're going to be talking about the digital phoenix effect, how legacy companies can lead the platform revolution without burning everything down. That's the book. So, Daniel, Tommaso, do you want to introduce yourselves?
Yeah. First of all, thank you very much for having us. We are super happy to be here with you. We are two professors staying at Milano, Politecnico di Milano in Italy, and we are, working on platform thinking and platforms as a way to foster innovation.
Yeah, this is basically the whole point of the book. There's a lot of talking, there has been a lot of talking about platforms, but it's in many cases connected to startups or to pure digital companies, mainly in the Silicon Valley and so on. And that's great. So this is where we started many years ago. But what we think and what we try to show in the book is that even if you are a legacy company, an incumbent company that is not digital, with a lot of industrial, culture, platforms can be a viable way to do innovation.
So, what was the innovation behind the book? The inspiration behind the
book? Quite briefly, but everything started 10, 12 years ago. I was a student.
Okay.
He was my thesis supervisor, and he fell in love with apps with a free-based business model. And the question was, how is it possible that there is a free service? And since there, everything started, we tried to understand something more about platform business model, this way of having multiple customers in which one is probably paying also for the other one. That was common in the advertising world, and then became kind of common in other fields. Think about booking.com. You don't pay it. The hotel paid that for you. It's quite expensive, actually, for them. And the same start happening with data. The inspiration of this book is, as Tommaso said, we are not in the Silicon Valley. We tried to talk with Uber and Airbnb. We weren't that lucky to directly talk with them. But around us, there are so many companies that do create value. And we wanted to help them in entering into one of the phases of the digital world. So the inspiration is being helpful to companies that made, for sure, Europe, but the world, actually what it is today, getting able to explore some of the opportunities that the digital world is offering.
So, you would say that now is the right time for legacy companies to embrace the platform revolution?
Well, definitely yes. And we got many indicators of that. So first of all, we understood that not only legacy companies can create platforms, but actually they are in a position of advantage if compared to a startup. Because they do already have a set of assets that might be, customers, they might be data already collected, they might be relationships with different actors in the system. So we do have some things, some assets. We normally call them idle assets. By idle, I mean, of course, they are already using the assets, but the idea is that there is much more value that is somehow hidden into those assets, and you can unlock that value using the platform. Sorry.
Go on. Well,
because we see that this is happening. So part of the research was based on Southern Pulse 100 companies. We analyzed all of them, and we discovered that 92% of them, so they're not all digitals. You got very industrial things inside. 92% of them are, embracing the platform revolution. So this seems to be the right time to do it.
Because you talk about digital transformation without burning everything down. And that's what you mean, isn't it? Which is the fact that we've got these assets already, we've got access to data, and therefore we can still use those to transform the data to digital.
Here there is a very important thing. At the beginning, when we had the idea of platform thinking, we had a handful set of cases in our hands. And many of them were doing business model innovation. So the company was used to do something, and thanks to a platform model, was trying at least to shift towards something else. And we've been struggling a lot to find other examples like that. And with the study that Tommaso mentioned, we actually realized something. It's very difficult for a person being someone and at a certain point start being someone else. For a company, it's more complicated because you've got thousands of people in there, and it would mean asking to thousands of people to actually start doing something completely different. And probably what start emerging after a few years, so it's pretty recent as a trend, is that the two models can coexist. So you don't need to burn down what was there. Maybe you need to change something that is possible, but you should make great value out of it. That's the positive message that we are trying to give with the book. It's a hybrid system that can let you exploit the value that you already have.
Many legacy companies struggle with balancing innovation and existing business models. What's the biggest mistake you see them make?
Oh, wow. If I had to select the biggest problem that a legacy company has got when developing a platform, is mainly connected to the shift in mindset that Daniel was talking about. So let me make you an example. Imagine that you are a company and you've got some providers, and all of a sudden you decide that you want to create a platform. And so instead of buying from the providers and selling to somebody else, you would like to create a sort of marketplace in which your customers are still your customers, but your providers actually become your customers as well. And this is a shift in mindset. But it's very easy to say, but it's very difficult to do, because those people inside the company that are accustomed to deal with those providers are in procurement. And the mindset of people in procurement is not the mindset of people looking for customers. So they're not accustomed to read the needs. They're not accustomed to answer to the needs. They're accustomed to work on the price and try, to lower the price of what they're buying. So it's completely a shift. So what we are noticing is that when companies try to convince the procurement department, in this case, to become, sellers or developers of new services, that just doesn't work. So you need to create another unit. So now you got two R&Ds. You got an R&D for the final customer, and now you've got an R&D for your former providers. So I think that this is the change, but it seems to be incredibly difficult. So on the one side, we still stay on it. Existing companies have got idle assets, they got an advantage. But there's always the dark side, the moon. But they don't know how to exploit them because it's not in their DNA.
And how can leaders identify which parts of their business to preserve and which to reinvent?
This is a very, very good question. We got a first book that was titled Platform Thinking that has a tool that is called Idle Asset Canvas. And the whole idea of that tool was finding a structured and easy as possible way to see what you have there and start imagining different usage of them, different connection, different transactions, different players to involve. And that worked pretty well with innovation managers. But we found out that all the other managers don't have time to look for opportunities and tend to have another issue that is solving problems. So the shift we took with the second book is actually reversing your question. We do believe platform thinking is useful. We do believe in it. We like it. But we don't believe that people should be buying it because it's cool. The idea is there is a list of problems that we saw, according to these 140 cases, that platform can solve in an effective way. So if you have one of those problems, probably it's a good alternative, at least, to be explored. We are talking about very quickly inefficient transactions. When you have a process that is not as fluid as it should be, you have two stakeholders involved to a certain extent. Putting a platform there in the middle could actually be a way to make the flow easier. When your customer have new needs as a demand that you are not able to cover, You can go and get the skills. You can do that. That's the linear way of doing that. Or you can use those skills that are in the market and stay focused on what you can do. And we go on with innovation bottlenecks that is pretty similar towards the open innovation world. And then we close with two problems that are related. That is when you have data and you don't know how to use them, or when you don't have data and you want to catch them. And if you treat the data creator as a customer, the probability of having those data and the quality of those data will increase significantly. So we try to shift the perspective. These are the problems platform can be useful in solving.
You discuss in the book the concept of a platform mindset. What does that look like from a company that's been traditionally a product or service focused?
It is exactly this idea of thinking in a platform way. Companies, all the companies are very good in looking at one customer or one set of customers. And actually they started and they grown up and they developed a set of competencies and skills in understanding you, in anticipating your needs and so on. The problem is that if you are inherently a linear value chain, you only see one customer. The problem, so the mindset is trying to see and look for other customers. You might have a lot of them. So I can give you a very, very simple example of it. Imagine that you are Target, the supermarket chain in the United States. You got a lot of data connected to your customers, for loyalty programs, because you already have got an online channel and so on. So actually you got very valuable information about the brand of tuna that team likes. It's not that. So this kind of information is something that Google or Meta, they do not have.
Yep.
You might know that you like tuna because you look for tuna but exactly the brand, how often you buy it, which kind of, if that one is not there, what is the second best? So you got a set of information that is incredibly valuable. And of course, they already use it. They use it to cheer you, they use it to help you, to propose you, and so on. But imagine now that you can look inside and say, okay, but besides all the things that I can do for my beloved customer using this data, is there any other customer that is interested in the data? Of course. So if companies are buying advertising space from Google and Meta, why shouldn't they buy, advertising space that are, based on this level of detail of what you like and you don't like? So you can create a digital retail. Sorry, the retail media. I was missing the word. So digital retail media. So that means this is the mindset. The mindset is we are great probably in what we do, but there are so many other potential customers, and we need to train ourselves to look for those customers around. So this is the shift in mindset. We all like to be customer obsessed. Probably we should become customers obsessed. So more than one.
Customer obsessed, customers obsessed. I like that. Yes, good. Can you share an example of a legacy company that successfully implemented the Phoenix effect and what you can learn from them?
I think my favorite one is a Siemens.
Yeah.
It's my favorite one for many reasons. I actually love all of them. There are the book opens with three cases.
It does. Yeah.
And any. But Siemens is particularly cool because I think everyone can easily understand it. Siemens, everyone knows it. A company that do so many types and so great hardware that everyone used their products or got in touch with them. They created Siemens Accelerator. That was the answer to a problem they've been living for decades. That was the transition from hardware to software. For a company that has been growing, designing products, engineering them, marketing them, bringing them to the market, shifting to the idea that product should enable services, should welcome digital technologies to enter in a product service system is not easy, especially when you are at that level of technical complexity. Yeah. So after many projects, they said, okay, stop. We're going to have one platform where all the functions, all the divisions will work upon, the hardware will become the platform itself that will be open, and where other external providers will be able to code and to create a layer of software on top of them. And there will be one point of contact for all the Siemens services, and that's a Siemens accelerator. So they leveraged on their product and they open it up to create a platform where all the other companies, small or even big, NVIDIA is working with them on that platform, can actually co-create value with them. And this is helping them in making a very smooth and effective transition towards a hardware and software company.
Excellent. Tommaso, and do you want to make any comment on that at all?
Well, I must say that this
Or
idea.
do you have your own example?
Oh, yeah, no, this is what I was thinking. So, about the Siemens case, the way we normally oversimplify it is that basically they took a 5 million turbine and they treat it like an iPhone. So now you can build your stuff on it. And the great thing is that the more the ecosystem is working well and is creating great solutions, the more you will buy my turbine. So this is the kind of mechanism. Now there are so many other stories. So there is another one that I love a lot. Is the one of it's a restaurant chain in the United States, Chipotle. Because I think that they found a brilliant solution. So imagine that there was, we all know there was the COVID-19 outbreak, and many, even probably all businesses suffered for it. But some businesses like restaurants, they probably suffered even more.
Yeah.
But let's be sincere. So we are talking about a company that is listed in Standard & Poor's 500. So can they survive if they do not sell any food for some months? Of course, they're not happy, but probably they are strong enough to survive that. But Chipotle has got this strategy that is based on organic food coming from small local farmers, and this is actually what makes the brand very, very valuable. But on the other side, this means that instead of having big providers, they got a plethora of small providers. And if Chipotle can survive some months without selling, probably the same cannot be said for many of the providers. So the big risk is that when you reopen, because you will reopen at a certain point, you will have customers, you will have the restaurants, you will not have the food.
Yeah.
And so what could have they done? We always try to think in this way. There is a linear way of solving the problem. So if they got enough money, they could subsidize, or they can do a loan at a very low, a rate. So they can help the providers not to die, because if they die, Chipotle dies. Okay, but that's a linear way. It's very expensive. You need to do it, one by one. You need to contact all of them one by one. It's very complicated to be developed. Also, the time is an issue here. Or you create, and this is what they did. They said, no, why don't we do something different? Why don't we create something that is scalable and we can do it very well? We create a virtual farmer market. And now our customers, instead of buying the food processed by us, actually are in contact with the providers. The providers can still sell. They are home, cannot go to the restaurant, so they need anyway raw material. So we are solving the problem of the customer, we are solving the problem of the providers, we are solving our big problem. It's a win-win-win solution. And the point is that it's less expensive and incredibly fast, because once you set it up, it's a market. So they work, they look one for each other, they define the price and so on. So you are solving the problem in a brilliant way. So this is a case that I love a lot.
Fantastic. Really good examples. Thank you for that. Digital transformation often fails due to cultural resistance. What strategies do you recommend for overcoming that?
That's the next book. Well, joking aside, we're actually working on that, because you're right, is the critical success factor, and in platforms is probably even more critical, because it's not just culture, but it's a different mindset. So you need to leave behind what you believed of your business. What we are seeing that works better than other things is agility. I'm not talking about agile project management and the Scrum framework. It can be helpful, but I'm talking about a real agile culture, which means listening, going fast and going slow, which means that you can try to go fast, but you need to be humble enough and to be critical enough to actually slow down when things are not working. And taking the time to explain, to understand, to assess. We just had this conversation a few hours ago. Probably many managers, many board members fall in love with the idea of platforms because they scale fast. They are quick in making revenues, if not profit. But when you bring this within the legacy firm, you can have them, but you cannot have the full package of the platform. So probably you need a hybrid strategy. You will have revenues, yes. It will be faster than setting up a new business. Probably yes. You need definitely a different type of investment, but you also need to give the time to your organization to get accustomed to that, to understand it, to accept it. So agility means that you can set a plan, but you need to be able to listen to what is around you to adjust it quite often.
If I may just add a small thing
Yes,
here.
please do.
There is this one thing that is a little bit counterintuitive, and we saw it happening again and again, especially if you're a big company and if you are on the stock market. Basically, what we see is that they hide the platform. So they do not show, I mean, they show the platform, of course, but they do not show the numbers of the platform. So in a certain way, the market is accustomed to look at you as a company and try to replicate the same logics. So if you're an industrial company and you do an investment of some hundreds of millions, it's supposed that you need to pay it back in 2 years or 2 years and a half. The platform game is a long game. So it will speed very much at a certain point, but probably not in the first 2 years and a half. And those companies which declared, we are doing this, were actually under the incredible pressure from outside, from the market, to prove that it was working, because this is what they normally do. But this is a different game. So in being a different game, you should apply different rules. But for some reason, this seems to be very difficult to be explained to the market. So what we saw is that many companies are just, going under the radar. So they do the platform, they start involving the ecosystem, but they refuse to talk to the stakeholders and to the shareholders what are exactly the numbers until a certain point. Of course, you cannot go in forever. Give it time.
And they said it from the beginning. You see, that's agility. I have a vision, but I can't measure it the day after. And if you say it till the beginning, the market won't react 2 years after because you're not sharing the numbers, obviously.
Daniel, Tommaso, thank you so much for coming on and talking about your book, The Digital Phoenix Effect, how legacy companies can lead the platform revolution without burning down everything. Thank you so much. So if I wanted to buy a copy of this, where could I get one from?
Well, the book is available worldwide on Amazon in English and Italian so far. You can have more on platforms on platformthinking.eu. We actually have a new newsletter on Substack, Platform Thinkers Spritz. We are Italian. The idea is that you can read a new case of platform thinking every 2 weeks. So we go on telling these stories, or you can follow us on LinkedIn. Daniel Trabucchi, Tommaso Buganza.
And we've got your names up on there in terms of following you. Thank you so much for coming on and
Thank you very much for
talking about the book. It's a fascinating subject. Really enjoyed it. And you're talking, from what I'm seeing, no one else is talking about this. So, you're in a very unique position.